Although the men were the ones who went off to fight the war, the people left at home also had a part to play in the war.
The home front is the name given to the effect of the war on the people's everyday lives.
Evacuation was introduced to move school children, teachers, mothers with children under the age of 5 and disabled people out of the cities to the countryside where they were of little risk to get bombed.
Learning the kanji, hi. Kanji no benkyou shimasu.
We must evacuate!
In 1943, the government started removing children from schools.
Millions of Chinese moved to strained regions of China to avoid Indian invasion. Cities like Kunming ballooned with new arrivals.
Keep calm, everyone. The Americans are bombing.
450,000 students were moved from schools with their teachers but not their parents to the countryside.
Entire factories and universities were often taken along for the journey. Japan captured major coastal cities like Shanghai early in the war, cutting the rest of China off from its chief source of finance and industry.
Keep calm, class. The Americans are bombing. It's okay. You'll find your parents in the countryside. Shinimasu.
Most of those evacuated didn't know what their life as an evacuee would be like, nor did they know when and if they would ever see their parents again. The only fruit available at Britain in this time was strawberries, apples, and pears. Other fruits like oranges, bananas, and peaches weren't available in Britain at this time. Since weekly food allowance in Britain would look something like this. 6 ounces or 170 grams of meat. 12 ounces or 340 grams of sugar. 4 ounces or 113 grams of lard or butter. 2 ounces or 57 grams of tea. Yeah, 2 eggs.
During the first part of the war, there were surprisingly very few restrictions put on German civilians. In 1939, rationing was introduced to Germany. It happened later than other countries, such as Britain, because Hitler believed that it would affect the support of the war if rationing was introduced. Women did participate in the war. However, in Germany, they were not involved as much. When victory came fast and easy for Germany, Hitler did not want to upset civilian population. As more and more men were called up to be in the war, women were doing the jobs traditionally done by men. They worked in factories, producing aircraft, ammunition, and weapons. These were all needed for the war.
You got to go and dig those holes. And I'm tired. With broken hands.
These were all needed for the war effort.
Everyday life in the Soviet Union during World War II was not pleasant. The blackout, which was where everyone was to block out their windows and doors so German bombers could not find their targets easily, began 2 days before the war did. Streetlights were turned off and often people would bump into each other because they couldn't see anything. This blackout caused deaths, such as car accidents, because headlights had to be turned off so when you were driving you couldn't see. People also walked off bridges and into streams and drowned because they couldn't see anything. During 1939 and the start of 1940, hardly any bombs were dropped in Britain, but Hitler planned to invade Britain. In September of 1940, Germans started to bomb Britain's sites, hoping that Britain would panic and surrender. This period was known as the Blitz. Many families sheltered in their homes under tables and stairs, while others would run down their street to find a communal brick shelter. Some people hid in the shelters in their gardens. These were known as Anderson shelters. They sheltered in their underground railway stations. At first, sheltering down there was very uncomfortable, but soon bunk beds, toilets, and snacks were provided. As soon as aircrafts were spotted in the sky, sirens were let off to let people know they were coming.
The bombers are coming! The bombers are coming! Oh, I couldn't see you! It's so dark outside! Hurry! Hide! Hurry! Hurry!
As soon as the raid ended and all the all-clear sirens went off, people went outside to survey the damage. There were many different things to be found, such as dead friends and relatives.
Between 1921 and 1929, food shortages began in the Soviet Union. Rationing was only applied to people employed in the state-owned industries and their family members. The rationing system was divided into 4 rates that differed in the size of rations, with lower rates unable to get such basic products as meat and fish.
Education in the Soviet Union was organized in a highly centralized government-run system. Its advantages were total access for all citizens and post-education employment. The Soviet Union recognized their education through broad fields of engineering, the natural sciences, the life and social science, along with basic education.
The Japanese food rationing system was effective throughout the war.
A man named Adolf Hitler became Chancellor of Germany in January 1933. He had a big play on the home front in Germany. Although Hitler had the main goal of affecting the military, what he did also affect the people staying at home in war. One of Hitler's greatest strengths was his persuasiveness. He almost immediately began secretly building up Germany's army and weapons. Some quotes by the German leader Adolf Hitler include, "German must either be a world of power or there will be no Germany. Why should this war in the West be fought for the restoration of Poland? The Poland of Versailles Treaty will never rise again."